All right, so it looks like the sound should be working again. I bet you when I lifted the cat off of the desk, I jerked the mic. But it actually worked out because my eldest needed a resettle, but I've put them into my bed, so they shouldn't be up for a while. Anyway, I don't actually need to record this right now because it's realistically the same stuff as I was doing before. All right, but I am diabetic and my sugars are going apparently low. So I will be right back after I go check them on a real monitor. Oh, All right, I actually just got back to my desk. I am just on the edge of a diabetic low, so I had a quick snack. And now I can go back to cutting stabilizer. I've got 2, 4, 6, 7 left. So I definitely want to get these done before both my kids wake up. All right, that is that done. So now we are actually going to work on sewing some knot bags, which is why you're on this side now, is because you'll be able to see the sewing machine a bit better from this angle. I don't know how much sewing I will actually be able to get done because it's 20 to 12 right now, and I used to be such a night owl, and I am no longer. He agrees. So actually, I'll turn one of these and show you some of the fabrics that are going to be coming up for these eyeglass cases, because they are going to be adorable. Well, I'll turn this one, and then we'll go to mop bags, because no one is here. I'm just talking to myself. I might not have left a big enough opening for this. Oops. My hand is also very angry about doing that much shears cutting. Actually, I guess the other part of this is I just had it low as well, so that always zaps quite a bit of energy. Even though I wasn't super low. There we go. Oh, it's so good. Man, oh man. It is flippin' adorable. You can fight me on that. But I love it. And then there'll be a rivet through the top here, so when it folds up, that'll be what you see on the body of the case. This is the back of the case, and then this folds over here. Snap in there, so you got this guy kind of pretty much centered right on the back. And you got sexy chicken leg and this distinguished looking fellow. Yeah, I tried to get as many cats on there as I could. Got quite a few actually. And then it'll kind of be like 3D like this. So, and this will pop down. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Flynn does too. All right, I'll turn the rest of those later when I have help. So let's do some knot bags. Wonder if I should. No, there's nothing there that I can do. I'll just do black thread for now. Come over so you can see Sakura Soy McSoface. Yeah, my thumb is not happy. All right. And then we'll set up the phone to record from that way because I don't feel like doing the harness right now. I must have hit a tendon in my thumb. I actually really like doing the angle from the side anyway, so it's not really a big loss. Hi. It's like Inception. All right, so I won't be looking at the computer as much, but if you feel like asking any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Please do. I always like chatting with folks. It's part of why I'm here, is to kind of keep myself on track, and because I don't have a lot of people interaction throughout the day that isn't small children. Yeah, there's all the black thread ones. It's going to be white, and that's almost done. So we'll worry about that later. Oops. Now, one of the things I didn't do on this is there's supposed to be a snip on the side to tell you where to stop and start sewing. Although my hand is set enough, I wonder if I should. Yeah, it'll be fine. Stabilizer gunk. They're just gonna guess because I don't feel like getting up for the template right now. Actually, oh, there we go. I can use ones that have already been sewn. So if you've been following my lives for the last little bit, I said at the end of my last one that I was basically going to go through and take previously cut knot bag linings and just pair them up with what I had already cut. And so that's what I did. And actually worked out pretty well because a lot of them were pre-sewn. So they're already done. And so now all I have to do is sew the bags. So the exterior still have to be sewn and then they have to be put together. So, so. But it does cut out actually a significant amount of work by not having to cut and sew everything. Oh man, I hope I'm not getting sick again. I swear the kids started childcare and we haven't stopped being sick since. So these bags will be hopefully, well, my goal is to have them ready for the Stampede pop-up with Ancient Arts Yarns, which is July 15th. Was that like 2.5 weeks? I've got enough time to at least do knot bags, and I want to get a round of big bags done as well because I'm low on stock of big bags, and then we'll see where we go from there. I also have a large wholesale order for Paula of bananas to fulfill, and yeah, snip, snip, snip. This one's snipped but not sewn yet. This is actually going to be so the nice thing about the knot bags is that you're able to see what they're going to look like before you sew them, basically. And this is going to be a spectacular knot bag. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I was prepping all that stabilizer and tracing it earlier today before I went and got my eldest from daycare. And I was like, I'll just finish up the tracing. It'll be perfect. There's a few extra so that I can do some Obi eyeglass cases as well. Awesome, awesome. And once I finish this, we'll go pick them up. And yeah, that was a mistake. It A, took me forever to get there, and B, I got caught right in the middle of a thunderstorm. Like lightning striking, or felt like, and nearly was, right outside my window. So that was fun. And then, of course, picking them up, it's like, hurry, hurry, scurry, because you don't want to get caught in the middle of a thunderstorm, that's for sure. Okay, so that's going to be paired with a blue. You are not already clipped. But I finished up the stabilizer, and now we are moving on to the knot bags that I want to get finished for the Ancient Arts Yarns pop-up on July 15th. There's a few bags that come together really quickly, and the knot bags are one of them. And then the big bags are the next ones. And so those are the two that I'm going to focus on for the show or for that pop-up because they, well, I'm low on stock on the big bag anyway. And then with the knot bags, they just come together quickly. These are all pretty much new fabrics. So like the knot bags will showcase it really well. The hedgehogs are not, but it's such a popular fabric that I like sewing with it anyway. And if you are a new viewer, all my fabrics are from Japan. I go over and hand select them there myself in Tokyo and Kyoto. And then I come back and I make all the bags in my studio. So this process is me, myself, and I from start to finish. I originally was importing them through an Etsy seller, but my husband and I, when we went on our first trip together there, or his first trip, my return trip after my exchange, as an exchange student in Osaka. I was actually about halfway between Kyoto and Osaka at Kansai Gaidai University. But that experience was the start of all of this, basically. So my husband and I went back, and I had already been importing fabrics from Japan at that point in 2016, and it made me more distinct. I liked the fabrics better. They fit my aesthetic better for obvious reasons. And they have better cap prints. They still have better cap prints, although North America has gotten better in the last few years. Back then it was like timeless treasures, and part of it, and like there's nothing wrong with timeless treasures for certain projects, but they were not what I was looking for. And certain projects, words. Anyway, so I was importing fabrics because I was like, they've got cute Japanese cats. This is perfect. I was on exchange there, so like, hey, nice little circular thing. Who'd have thought that the girl with the English degree that went to Japan on exchange would actually be using her Japanese experience that much? It was one of my questions actually in my exchange interview, because the main reason I went to university, besides the degree and the networking, was to be able to go on exchange. Because going and working in Japan is an extremely different experience versus going as a student. And so that's what I did. I went to university and I went on exchange. But part of the interview process was asking, like, you've got 2 Japanese universities, and then you've got Scotland, like you've got Edinburgh, and why? It was just like, well, my top pick is to go to Japan for the experience, but Edinburgh would actually be more useful to my degree. And I got into my first pick, Japanese university, thankfully. So just interesting to also see, like, so some of my friends are still over there. Some went back for PhD. Some went back on like the JET program. Some went back planning to come back home and didn't. One friend actually got married in the last couple of years to a Japanese man, so she's there for a while. I think they're planning to actually settle down around Himeji area, or Kobe maybe, which is just kind of south of where we were on exchange. But yeah. You never know where these sorts of experiences are going to take you, that's for sure. But anyway, so when we went back for my husband's first trip in 2016, I was already importing fabric through an Etsy seller, and it was expensive. And so I told him, I'm like, hey, look, we got to look at how much the fabric would cost for me to actually come here and purchase it. Because like at that time, flights weren't that insane. Not cheap, but they weren't insane. And yeah, it worked out to be 40% cheaper for me to actually go purchase my fabrics in Japan versus purchasing them online. And then all the other benefits of, like, since these are mostly project bags, we as knitters and crocheters and fiber artists know the importance of the tactile experience of things. And so that's something else that I'm able to judge that you cannot experience online, is the feeling of and quality of the fabric. There's quite a few very thin fabrics when I was there in May, which is interesting. But yeah, and I went back in May as well as November. It was really busy in May, and I do wish that I'd been able to actually take advantage of my trip in November a little bit better, but I just needed to get in and out for fabric for sure. Although I did get to meet up with friends while I was there, which was really good, kind of like stuffed in the corners and sides of the whole trip. So got some really cute guinea pig fabric. This will be coming in glasses cases as well. Small box bag, and I think a large box bag. I don't know what else I cut out of this. Everything in the last couple of weeks is a blur. Our July is so busy. It's not even funny. Like, I'm not even looking to really look up from anything till August, which is nuts. And my husband and I are participating in the Dopey Challenge, which is a running event down at Disney World in January. And the Dopey Challenge is a 5, a 10, a half, and a full marathon in 4 days. And so training officially started for the Dopey Challenge today. Now, pre-children, I would not have any concerns, but between children and I broke my ankle back in September 21. There's a few detractors to my potential success. So I just started the official training today, as well as strength training, which is going to be the key, I think, to actually doing it, because the broken ankle isn't it's not painful most of the time, but it definitely has quite a few restrictions still. Pretty tight. I have worked with a physio. I do need to go back and see her again, but yeah, it's just time. The kids in childcare, at least, it's going to be a little bit easier to get things done. But the youngest is, they like to get into everything right now. They're just at that stage. And so they're only in childcare twice a week. And so I try to take advantage of that as much as possible. But the other drawback is it's Canada Day weekend this weekend. So I've actually got a rotation basically. So my eldest is home with me. And then my youngest is home with me. Just because they're at different, there wasn't space. And the youngest wasn't actually the proper age to go into where my eldest is right now, which is fine. They'll transfer over in January, February, which will be good, because then drop-offs everything will smooth out very nicely, and I'm excited for that. But finding childcare in Alberta right now is nuts. Just not the worst thing, and it's not the best thing either. Part of it is that they started the grant program, which will eventually bring day home and daycare down to about, on average, $10 a day, which will be awesome. There's no way we could afford them being in childcare if there wasn't grants and accessibility stuff, which is insane. All right, I will not be talking while I'm actually sewing. I'll be talking around the bags. So I wonder, try to bring this around a bit better. Caught on the lid. There. Now, typically I do chain piece everything. Nut bags, I guess it can be done, but it's a little bit more difficult. I want to show you the process of actually installing it, I guess, putting the interior into the exterior. So I'll turn this guy right side out. Knot bags are really good bags if you don't have to worry about your kids or cats getting into your yarn. The long handle goes through the short handle, and that's it. That's your closure on it. There's no zippers, so if you're really worried about zippers catching your yarn, this is the really good option. Also a really nice just casual handbag, basically. That's what I would in the past knit out of it and then throw things on top of it to so a phone and wallet and everything fits in here quite easily. All right. Then we'll do this. And then I always make sure to double back stitch at the seam, because that's a point of the stress point. Also just helps turn it a little bit easier. I need my actual snips there. And then when I turn it, I'll make sure that everything got caught. Actually, I can tell right there that that did not catch everything. So I'll go through right now and fix it. Rather than having to turn it and then turn it back to fix it, which is super annoying. It's actually probably one of the most annoying things about sewing, particularly for the bags. There we go. Now that'll be done. Perfect. We'll do the long arm. And we'll do the interior curves, and then we'll turn it, and I'll show you next year. I will not be finishing knot bags tonight because that can be chain pieced, so it's quicker for me to go through and just do them all at once than it is to do them individually. This section, it's easier to fiddle around with it individually. And then trying to like piece together these spaghetti arms. All right, that's going to be the same problem. And then line everything up. So last year, the cats actually got a bunch of thread into my hand wheel because my sewing machine was actually against the window right here, so that the romantic idea in my head was that I would be able to sit and like sew and look up and see my view. No, cats wanted in the window, which would have been fine, except that they would step over, and then they got the thread caught in the hand wheel, which meant that it had an oil leak actually. And so I got most of the thread out, but I actually had to go in and disassemble this whole section up to here, like under this basically, to get all the thread out. But she's running like a dream now, so I think she's actually running better than when I even purchased. Well, since I've purchased her, have not thankfully had to do a lot of maintenance. So I swear, it's really hard to find maintenance people. And then because I'm outside of the city just enough, it would be a major pain to take this machine head in. So you have to get a mobile person in. And they are not cheap. Sewing machine repair isn't cheap as it is. But by just me pulling that apart and doing it, I saved myself a minimum of about $225. So now, did I spend that much time? Actually, probably not. No, it was cheaper. Sweet. Now I'll go in with the pinking shears and cut around the curve just so it lays a little bit nicer. This is not something I've normally done on my knot bags before. Usually I just go in and like press it open, but seeing how the edges come together for the glasses case and such, I figure I probably should. And it doesn't add that much extra time to do this while just adding that the crisper finish. And realistically, it'll be a bit easier for me to top stitch this afterwards. The actual like handles get the uppers get top stitched. None of the rest of the bag gets top stitched. That is where I save some time on these. So won't be quite so this is normally something that I would do all in batch as well, basically assembly line it. But like I said, I want to finish this one up and turn it and show you before I head out for the night. I'm not going to head out right away, but in case one of the kiddos wakes up again. And then I can just end and head upstairs. All right, and then I don't worry about this because it's a fairly straight V, I guess would be the best description. Now, did I leave myself a big enough hole in these? Probably not. Who knows? Find out in a minute. So this will go and get pressed so that like the fabric stays nicely in its little interior exterior line. Double check here. As you can see, it got finished. And double check there, same thing. Some nice finish there as well. This is kind of a mashup of different patterns too. It's just how the way I've done them since I figured out how to sew knot bags. And I don't actually remember who the pattern's even from anymore. It was a free pattern online though. So there's the knot bag. So it'll go through an iron so that like all of these little bits get ironed underneath and they kind of flatten out nicely. And I'll make sure to iron that curve, although actually trimming it did help significantly. Oh man, okay. But yeah, so that's the knot bag. When it gets finished, there'll be that short end and the long end, and then the long end just goes through the short end right here. And then that becomes the handle, so you can loop it around your wrist. And that's a nice little shape. But yeah, this definitely needs an iron. It always looks nicer once it's actually flattened out and like crisp. But that is such, oh my goodness, it's such adorable fabric. That's some Micro Cats in Flower Forest or something like that. Just show it off for the actual like recording I'm doing as well. All right. So now I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and blast through the exteriors. And then, yeah, I am fading fast, so I'll be heading up to bed myself soon as well. But so I'll try and get through some of these exteriors first. I have a friend coming over to help this weekend, which will be amazing. She's been really good with the kids, and so they really like her. And it's not supposed to be insanely hot, so we can sit out on the deck and do the things. I'm going to try and get a bunch of glass cases ready so we can basically just sit down and so then we can just sit down and turn a bunch of glasses cases, and then I can sit down and finish them like that night. So those little notches that I was cutting, that's the start and stop line for the sewing, so that they, so as you could see, you could actually fit it together easier, which is nice. Okay. Sassy Cat on moons. Actually, it looks like you can actually see the shimmer on the stars there really well. And I don't need any of this right now. Can't believe that this weekend is already July. It's like, where did June go? I was looking forward to my birthday all month. My birthday is June 20th. And then it's suddenly like, end of June. My grandma's thing was always that once Stampede ended in July, summer was over. I get it. It just goes so fast afterwards. Okay, that one does not have notches in it. So we need to cut the notches for it. This one has notches. It does. But it's also like we're in summer now, and now it's already getting darker earlier, and it's just so weird. And I swear, after having kids, time just has gone faster. Oh, there it is. Okay, well, we're going to even them up so that, because apparently turning it around shifted probably the grain line or something. Okay. I don't know. I made that up. It sounded very technical, but I did make it up. I don't know why the dart shifted. Not darts, they're notches. Start, stop notches. Alright, so that one needs to be sewn interior and exterior. This is such a vibrant red. It's hard to like capture on camera, which is the bane of my existence when I'm trying to do online photos. It's just like, darn it. Thankfully, the iPhone does a really good job, but it's just sometimes things just look better in person. Looking at it, I probably should actually clip the bottom as well, because it's a fairly large curve. By the way, the tape is not to hold the machine together. It's actually to hold the lighting on for underneath. Typically, I have another light system in here that's on, but I have too many things plugged into my surge bar tonight, so. That'll be the turning gap. These hedgies are so good. Surprised, actually, yeah. I don't know why I haven't made more bags with them. Like, I'm surprised I've left myself with any fabric at this point. Although I think this might be the last of it. This one did end up going onto the selvage a little bit, so the sides of it will be a little bit straighter just to compensate. So you don't end up with selvage in the actual fabric. Just because it's really stark. Since it's a navy fabric, it's ivory. Ivory selvage would not fly. Just realized I need another bobbin. So I'll set that up to wind while this is sewing. Awesome. Honestly, one of the best things about the industrial machine is the fact that it's got a bobbin winder on the side here. Oops. So that means that I don't have to pull, oh, what the heck happened here? Oh, it's because I'm pulling it from the cone. Anyway, means I don't have to pull my thread out every single time. Domestic machines, if you're just using the domestic threader or bobbin winder, means that you have to unthread your needle every single time you need to wind a bobbin. Now, there are separate bobbin winders, which would have been good to know when I was using a domestic machine. But honestly, one of the best upgrades I ended up with this industrial was the fact that it had an integrated bobbin winder on the side. Now, does that mean that I always have bobbins? No. Does mean that I have them the majority of the time, though. Oh, yeah, none of this is actually threaded right. Okay. All right. Oh, the youngest was playing down here. That's what was happening. Okay. So I'm just going to wind all the extra. So I had a bunch of extra thread. And I just rewind it onto the actual bobbin, or onto the cone here. As it goes. There we go. It's just about right. There we go. That should be, no, too much still. There we go. And then it gets threaded down to a tension here. And around. And then it goes into the actual bobbin. I think the tension did get tightened a bit. Yeah. There we go. Then when you're sewing, so I just restart the actual sewing, and then I'll show you how the bobbin works. It's actually really cool. And you pop it. So it's got like a little thing here. You just push it in like that. And then grab the thread, hold it, and it winds. And then when it's done winding, it'll actually just pop itself out. So I'll leave it on there until the bobbin's done. Apparently that cone gave up. What the heck? Okay, so this is getting too heavy. So that chain is done. Move it back here. Apparently I need to rescue the thread cone now. Oh, it must have gotten probably wound underneath the actual cone bit at some point in that process. All right, get back on there. Okay. All right, that one's already sewn. All right, so I'm ending up being on a lot later than I thought I was going to be, but I guess that's just how it goes. We don't have anywhere to be tomorrow, so that's okay. Oh no, we do have places to be, that's right. My eldest has an appointment in the city. Oh, we don't have anywhere to be early. That's the key. Early. Plus I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 more pieces to sew. It looks like 11 or 12. So I'm going to wrap up on the knot bags, and then I am going to head to bed. But I'll try and get these knot bags done tonight. So by these knot bags, I mean this wad that I have in my hand right here. It's probably another half hour worth of work or so. just given how fast these do sew up. There we go. That bobbin is probably about 2/3 to 3/4 full, so on this bag it should actually pop. I was wrong. Okay, we'll be on this one though because it's like nearly full. I bet you it'll take like less than a dozen stitches to actually get it to finish winding that bobbin. Let's see. There. So now it's done winding, and when I want to use it, I'll just clip the thread, pull it off, and it goes in the bobbin case. So much easier than having to like pull it off and yeah. It's like the domestic versus the industrial. Although honestly, the biggest annoyance is that bobbins are always too small. Like this bobbin is the same size as domestic machines. Or at least on the Brother that I used to work on. Okay, I'm still threading this bobbin. And so it's like, out of all the things they could improve on a machine, why would they not improve the bobbin size? Or like figure out a system like where you could just set up a cone on below and just pull from the cone. I don't get it. I don't know why that hasn't been something that's been updated on machines, especially the industrials. I guess it's one of those situations where it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But it is something that annoys every sewist I know. So the chain piecing like this, where you put them all in together, actually helps conserve thread as well. 3 more. Then it's bedtime. Yep, and my bobbin's done. So I'm calling it quits there then. And I will see you guys all next time on the next live. I will not be having a live on Friday, the 30th, because kiddos are in the house. So I will talk to you all again July 8th, I think, is the next time that I'll actually do a scheduled live stream. So bye.